Next up is Greg Smith, who's going to be talking to us about open source software. Greg's a software developer, entrepreneur, and Fanshawe grad. He's been developing software for more than 7 years and was introduced to open source 4 years ago. Greg Smith.
So I guess my math was wrong. Technically, it's been closer to probably about 10 years. But as Chris said, about 4 years ago, I discovered open source software and how awesome it actually is. The main reason I started using open source software is because it's free. Free is awesome, makes things a lot easier to work with. This is likely the main reason why most people actually get into open source software. It gets us away from piracy, which is great. And free is a really low barrier for entry. You can try it out with all the features for as long as you want, no cost, no strings, which is great. Open source software is free to download, it's free to modify, it's free to extend, you can redistribute it, and it's also free to make money off the systems that you build with it, which is fantastic. My dad always told me that nothing is free, and he's right. There is actually a quote-unquote cost to open source software. Official documentation sometimes is lacking. Us as developers, we don't always do a great job documenting what we do, so that can make it a little bit difficult to set up and to configure. Some open software is not quite as refined as its commercial competitors, but if you use it, you're telling the developers that wrote it that you're interested, and they'll spend some more time innovating and developing it. Software tends to be developed better when done by diverse crowds. Crowdsourcing works well when the crowd is made up of a different mix of people from different places and businesses. More eyes means more vision and more refinement, which ends up leading to more amazing products. Approximately 10,000 patches go into each release of the Linux kernel. Those patches contain the work of about 1,000 developers from 200 corporations. Each of those patents is scrutinized for security and for performance, ultimately making some pretty awesome operating system software. Pwn to Own is an annual hacker contest where contestants earn cash and prizes for exploiting software. At the 2010 event, after 2 full days of hacking, Chromium wasn't able to get hacked, and Google Chrome, the web browser, is what's based off of Chromium. Instead of reinventing the wheel, open source software allows you to leverage existing systems to build your own systems. If you're looking to build an online store, for example, you could use Linux, MySQL, Drupal, WordPress, and UberCart, which are all free. You can also learn a lot from the crowd. Developers can learn a lot from working with open source software and looking at its inner workings. The best practices of hundreds of developers go into writing open source software. And most open source software is written to be extended by third-party modules and plugins. This is a great practice for all developers to take into consideration when they're writing their own code. Openness fuels openness, which is awesome. Developers tend to put more time and effort into open source. They support it. They release code for it, basically supporting the whole community. Got myself screwed up there, sorry. Oh, this is just awkward. There we go. Competition's great for all of us. Without the rise of Firefox, we might still be using IE6, and nobody wants that. There's been a huge jump in browser performance over the last 5 years because of Firefox, and more recently because of Google Chrome. The browser wars have been great. They've made everything better for us. Performance is a high priority. With each release of the Linux kernel, code is removed in order to improve performance. And with every release of Google Chrome, browser performance has either had a minor or a drastic increase in performance and loading of pages. Most open source software applications have official support forums where you can get the answer to almost any question that you may have. Open source software funds itself usually through priority support services. Red Hat Linux is an example of that, where they have basically paid support packages. Ubuntu Linux is one of the most widely used distributions of Linux. It feels and looks just like a Windows operating system. And the cool part is it can actually be run off of a USB drive, and you don't actually have to install it. OpenOffice is a direct competitor to Microsoft Office. It's capable of opening Office files. Oracle's influence on OpenOffice has led the community to create a new branch called LibreOffice, and that should be out later this year, focusing on performance and stability. Mozilla Thunderbird is a mail client similar to Outlook. They actually offer a migration assistant that makes it easy to switch from Outlook to Thunderbird, and the great part is it's free. WordPress is the most widely used self-hosted blogging platform. When you host your WordPress blog, you have more freedom to configure and monetize it than you would with a paid hosting solution. And there are dozens of sites that offer commercial themes, allowing you to create a really professional blog for a very small amount of money. Drupal is a content management system that can be used to build almost any website imaginable. It has a vast community of developers that have supplied free open source modules to extend Drupal beyond just simple content. The development community is dedicated to keeping Drupal secure, fast, and easy to work with. Now go out, get some open source software, build some systems, and innovate. Thank you very much.